There is a persistent belief in the preparedness community that amassing a massive stockpile of ammunition is the ultimate insurance policy. If the grid goes down, you simply grab your 10,000 rounds, pack it into your bug-out bag, and march off to safety. For many, endless firepower represents total independence. It is treated as a guarantee of absolute security, insulating you against any threat a collapsed society could throw your way. But this creates a practical dilemma. You have a finite amount of budget and a finite amount of physical space. You have to decide whether dedicating those limited resources to hoarding bullets actually keeps you safe, or if that immense weight becomes a critical liability when you are forced to move. We are going to step away from the cinematic survival fantasies today. Instead, we will evaluate ammunition hoarding using objective, peer-reviewed biomechanics and combat data from the military. Video games give us magic, weightless inventory systems where a character sprints across the map with infinite magazines in their pockets. Real-world physics is much less forgiving. You have to separate the concept of economic insulation from the reality of a tactical burden. Buying ammunition in bulk to hedge against inflation and supply shortages is a smart financial move. Confusing that financial hedge with actual physical readiness is a fatal error that compromises your entire survival plan. Let's run the math. A standard box of 500 rounds of 5.56 NATO offal ammunition weighs roughly 15 to 18 pounds, depending on the casing and packaging. If you apply that math to the internet standard stockpile of 10,000 rounds, you are looking at over 360 pounds of dead weight. We call the attempt to carry this kind of hyper-specific load turtle syndrome. You pack so much gear for one single purpose that you completely immobilize yourself. The physiological tax of weight is immediate and severe. Adding 2 pounds to your footwear increases your metabolic energy expenditure by up to 10%. This Army field chart shows maximum energy expenditure over time, mapping the correlation between load and exhaustion. The line tracking 120 pounds flatlines entirely. This physical tax drains calories exponentially, severely restricting your total march distance. If you burn all your available calories simply hauling lead, you guarantee that you will arrive at your destination dehydrated, physically broken, and incapable of defending yourself anyway. In a physical evacuation, carrying this excess weight directly cannibalizes your most valuable currency, your own metabolic energy. A common defense for the heavy pack is that having more ammunition directly translates to a higher chance of surviving a firefight. The data tells a different story. The Marine Corps ran a computer simulation using active-duty infantry data to test the real-world effects of combat loads on a squad's survival rate. They established a baseline fighting load, which accounts for weapon, ammunition, helmet, and body armor. That load sits at approximately 65 pounds. They then tested an assault load, which adds an approach rucksack and pushes the carried weight up to 80 pounds. Those 15 extra pounds carry severe physiological penalties.
The heavy weight pulls your torso forward and forces your head downward, drastically decreasing your situational awareness. The fatigue generated by that weight actively degrades your fine motor skills. It increases the time required to raise your weapon, acquire a target, and accurately fire. The simulation results were grim. Carrying just 15 extra pounds resulted in an average of 1 additional casualty per squad during a firefight. Trading physical agility for sheer firepower actively degrades your ability to shoot, move, and survive. At this point, the argument usually shifts to the bug-in strategy. The plan becomes staying in your house, locking the doors, and using that 10,000-round stockpile to hold your ground. But urban disasters are unpredictable. Events like rapidly spreading fires or toxic chemical spills or total infrastructure collapse mandate sudden, non-negotiable evacuations. If the roads are gridlocked or your vehicle is disabled, moving 360 pounds of ammunition on foot with 10 minutes notice is a logistical impossibility. Abandoning your location means your stockpile actively arms whoever kicks your door in next. Alternatively, staying in a compromised location to guard metal boxes is fatal. You cannot hold a static location solo. Your supplies simply make you a target. Real-world combat without an operational emergency medical system is brutal. Without modern trauma support, virtually any ballistic injury becomes a guaranteed death sentence.
Hoarding massive amounts of ammunition without a trained, squad-sized element to employ it simply transforms you into a high-value arms supplier for your enemies. Purchasing ammunition in bulk is a completely valid strategy, provided your intent aligns with reality. The true value of a stockpile is serving as an economic buffer. It insulates you against supply chain disruptions, political volatility, and massive price spikes at the retail counter. Having a deep reserve guarantees your ability to conduct regular target practice and maintain your proficiency when ammunition becomes otherwise unobtainable or unaffordable. But that economic buffer stays at home. For a physical evacuation, the military standard combat load is roughly 210 rounds. That provides plenty of capability, and it weighs only about 7 pounds. You have to respect the unforgiving limits of human biomechanics. If you are forced onto your feet, you must keep your bag light enough to move quickly and navigate obstacles. Your strict weight allowances must heavily prioritize resources that actually sustain human life, starting immediately with clean hydration. Freeze-dried calories, reliable water filtration, and advanced trauma medical supplies will yield a vastly higher survival return on investment per pound than an extra dozen magazines. Actual survival in a crisis relies on evasion, de-escalation, and community networking, not engaging in prolonged cinematic firefights in the streets. A firearm is a tool used to break contact and escape a bad situation. It is not a magic shield that makes you invincible. True preparedness means recognizing the exact boundary between a smart financial investment for your training and the strict physiological limits of tactical reality.